Hi, I'm Dr. Holmberg from Holmberg Wellness Group. I'm going to talk to you today about feet. I know, not a pretty subject to talk about, but a lot of people have trouble with it, and I'm sure you may, or somebody you know has trouble with your feet. And in particular, what we're going to talk about today is pronation, or feet that get more flat than they should. And that happens to a lot of us over time. Some of us for different reasons. Some of us because of working on our feet all day with improper support. Maybe shoes that weren't very supportive for us over time. Some of us were born with flat feet, of course, and they become worse as we get older. And then, women, especially women that have had many children, their feet tend to get more flat as time goes on too. If you are in any of these categories, what I'm finding, especially in our office, and I'm sure you're finding too with your body, is that over time this causes a lot of trouble with knees, hips, and lower back issues. Our feet are the support of our body. If the feet aren't giving us proper support and they're really flat, you can almost think of your shock absorbers in your body are less effective than they should be because your feet aren't absorbing the shock. And the way that works is a foot that's working properly has a dome to it. We call it a plantar dome. It allows your foot, when it hits and pushes off, to accept and allow some force and absorb some force from the ground to our body. Well, as our feet get more flat and they hit the ground, they tend to slap at the ground. And they don't absorb shock as well. Therefore, we absorb more of that shock in the joints above our feet, which would be our knees and our hips. And over time, what I'll notice in the office, and you may have noticed this with yourself too, we'll notice more knee issues, or knees coming together, what we call knock-knee, okay? Or people having trouble with their hips, or even having IT band issues, okay? This muscle on the outside of the hip area, okay? If you've noticed any of those things, they're really closely related to a flat foot. Now, here's how this works. The foot has three arches to it. Most of you know about the medial arch of the inside arch. Okay, this is our main one that everybody sees from the side view. Well, there's also what we call a lateral arch on the side of the foot, and also what we call a transverse arch across the forefront of the foot. They create a triangle, which absorbs, like I said before, the shock that the foot presents to the ground. Okay? Now, if that arch is not supporting properly, we're not going to absorb that force like I was telling you about before. Now, some of the things that I have people do for that, we'll give them stretches and exercises for their feet to strengthen them. We might even have them walk on their tiptoes for 5 minutes a day to strengthen the arch, if the arch itself is weak. Or what we'll also do is have them get what we call orthotics, or shoe inserts. Now, the reason I'm going to show these to you, these are made by foot levelers. They're actually spinal pelvic stabilizers. They're not just foot supports, but they help to actually get the foot stabilized, so it actually stabilizes your knee and your hips and your back too. And what I like about these too is that they're very flexible. So not only do they absorb shock really well with their liner that they have here, which does absorb 90% of your heel force and 70% of your toeing off force with your walking stride, but they also have all three of your arches presented in the orthotic itself, which is very unique and very helpful. And I think it's very effective for people, especially that have feet, knee, hip problems, or even back issues, especially if their feet are flat. Also, with these orthotics, they can either create a wedge on the inside or outside of the heel to help keep the heel lined up so that the arch itself stays in place better too. Okay? Just want to show these too. I think it's a good idea. And what we have in our office, we actually have what we call a foot scan. It takes an impression of your foot electronically, and then it delivers it to a computer system that actually views the arch and sees if you need any help with that foot. Perhaps you need an orthotic, perhaps you need something to help strengthen the foot. Any of those options would be displayed to you. And for anybody that likes to have that done in our office, we would do that along with many other tests for you for $20. That would be our cost for you. It takes about 30 minutes to about an hour to check that out. If you have any other questions, please call our office at 316-945-3200 or reach us on our website, holmbergwellnessgroup.com. Thank you.